Hi guys. I want to thank all of my new subscribers who subscribe to me. I really do appreciate it. I'm slowly starting to build my channel and I want to be authentic as possible. I know that um you guys probably don't know that much about me. I just post random stuff or whatever, but today I want to talk about caretaking and domestic violence in a family. Um some people who caretake for a loved one, they have family support. There's some people who becoming a caretaker for someone who don't have any family support at all, or everything fell on them, or they might not even have any family. That's the last of their family. I fall in between those three categories I talked to you about. Um, a lot of people don't understand how taxing being a caretaker is, emotionally draining it could be, physically it can affect your health, that you're so busy worrying about taking care of somebody else that you forget about your own health. And that's kind of like what happened to me too. But I just want to focus on that. I just got a couple things I want to get off my mind. I'm gonna make it brief. Well, so my dad has had, in the beginning, my total of, in the end, 4 strokes. But he was okay after his first stroke. He was fine. His second stroke, he had a limp, but he was still able to work. And then when he retired, he ended up having a third stroke, but he was still able to walk around. He just needed help functioning. I am the oldest of one of 3 children he has. I decided to stay behind to help my grandmother with my father. I was having a hard time finding a job after grad school. I was going to move out of state, and I heard God speak to me and told me don't move. And everything started to happen with my father. Um my middle brother, he's done nothing for my father. He's went to school, couldn't find a job, had to come back home, and he wouldn't help my grandmother with anything. Nothing. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because I'm not saying his name. He told my grandmother, because my grandmother asked him to pull my father up in the bed, and he told my grandmother, don't you ever ask me to do this again, after my brother pulled my father up in the bed, because my father was in a hospital bed. My youngest brother, when he was, in the city we live, he helped. He would help if he's around. He definitely would help. But anything like outside of that, meaning like an example would be if he's not here, barely wouldn't call, nothing. So everything fell on me. It really fell on me. But if my youngest brother was here and present, he would have been helping to some extent. So, oh, and my middle brother's named after my father too. So, after that, what I just told you about, after that, one day, because my father couldn't live on his own anymore, so he had to move in with my grandmother. One day, I was taking my dad to rehab, and he opened his wallet, and all his money was gone except $20. He kept opening and closing the wallet, opening it, like it was going to magically disappear, like he was in disbelief. And I don't know if I think I paid for the movies or something. I don't remember. Or the food we got, whatever. But I figured out, because I called my youngest brother, and I figured out who came and saw dad last, or when his money disappeared, because I know I wasn't a thief, and my youngest brother wasn't a thief. My middle brother, yeah. So after that happened, I remember calling him. He didn't answer the phone, and I left a message. I was angry. I'm like, I know you took dad's money, blah, blah, blah. He later calls my mother. My parents are divorced. My middle brother, who's named after my father, told my mother, I hope you have insurance on Renee. My mother called me and said, whatever, just leave him alone. Don't say anything. He just said something. I hope you have insurance. I'm thinking like, I didn't understand it. Like, is it health insurance or is it burial insurance or whatever? But it was health insurance, lo and behold, because he was really going to hurt me. When he was in between jobs or whatever, I was over at my grandparents' house, my grandmother's house, and I was sitting on the couch helping my grandmother with a crossword puzzle, and my grandmother was sitting across from me. My brother, my middle brother, who's named after my father, came in, told me to leave a home which he pays no bills in, and I said no. And I was taking my father to rehab 3 times a week. 3 times a week, I was taking my dad to rehab. And at the rehab, anywhere he wanted to go, before I had to take him back to my grandmother's house. Anywhere, you know? And my brother went upstairs, came back downstairs, and I'm still helping my grandmother. I'm sitting on the couch, and my grandmother's sitting across on the table, a chair across from me. And my brother just comes up, walks up. Now, I'm tired. And I'm about 5'3.5". I would say we're 5'4". And he's almost 6 feet. He walks up to me. I didn't even see it coming. He just started beating on me. And I just remember the Holy Spirit telling me, because I was like this, and the Holy Spirit told me, move your arm more, over more. And I did. Very calm voice on the inside. And I was like, when is he going to stop? He just kept boom, 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 hitting me. And I just remember sitting there like, when is he going to stop? And my grandmother gets up, walks over and lays herself on the couch in between the both of us, trying to protect me. My brother was hitting my grandmother to get to me. Now, remind you, I'm the one doing everything for my father. I'm the one who sacrificed not moving out of state, to find a better job or whatever the case may be. I stayed behind. And I live in a pretty big city. Anyway, I wasn't the only one who finished grad school, had a hard time finding a job. So after that, he finally stopped. I got the phone. Every time I tried to get up the couch, because the couch was old and I was sunken in, I was tired. And I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Every time I got up, he would knock me back down. Because if I was able to get up, we would have tussled. I would have tried my best, to fight him back. And I remember, I would never forget this. I'm on the phone with 911, and I was lumped up or whatever. And he walks past me, and he smirked when he saw my face, like he was satisfied. He was satisfied. So, anyway, long story short is that my grandmother kept saying for me to go to the emergency room. I'm going to go to the hospital. And I'm like, I didn't realize how bad my face was. And my father came up, the police came, and my grandmother was defending my brother. Saying, oh, he's been to the war and blah, blah, blah. And the police officer's like, no, there's no excuse. He has no business putting his hands on her. And I'll make a story short. Anyway, when I was in I couldn't afford to go to the emergency room. I went to a walk-in clinic. We call it, you go in the hospital and they have like urgent care. And my grandmother was calling me to tell me not to check on me, but to tell me not to press charges. I never felt so alone in my life. Like, I felt like if my father was deceased, I would have left the state and I would have been done with everybody. But I felt I had to protect my dad because my father, my brother, and my grandma, they were in the house together. And I ended up going to court, getting a restraining order, and then we went to court. He pled not guilty, and then he pled guilty when they saw the pictures of my face. And I ended up getting a restraining order. I had it on him for 2 years. After that, everybody moved away. Okay, everybody moved away. It was no more Christmas dinners, nothing like that. Everyone moved. My brothers moved away. Okay, so I'm stayed behind to help my grandmother with my father. Now I know my grandmother and I's relationship really deteriorated. It really deteriorated because that hurt me. She's never called to check on me. Never called to check on me to see how I was doing. Fast forward. This happened in 2013. Then fast forward to 2020. My father's still living. My father had a fourth stroke after my brother jumped on me. So that's in 2013. Fast forward to 2020, my grandmother passes away. Now, my grandmother we discussed about not putting my dad in a nursing home, discussed of me helping to take care of my dad, and that's what I did. I became a full-time caretaker. Once again, I had to file a restraining order against my brother because he started harassing me. This is somebody who lived in the same house with my grandmother because he couldn't find a job. And he wouldn't cut my father's hair. He wouldn't cut his nails. He wouldn't help him get dressed. Wouldn't help wash his clothes. Nothing. Everything fell on my grandmother. And then, also too, I would try to help. I would come over and help. So now in 2020, I became a full-time caretaker of my dad because my dad has had 4 strokes. He can't do anything. And this is during a pandemic. I had a family member, right? Not even a family member, she was married to my uncle, right? Send a letter anonymously telling me to put my dad in a nursing home during COVID. I was not going to do that. I ended up, getting a power attorney for my father, but I did everything I could to take care of my dad and make my dad comfortable, even on his last days. I just feel like it's so unfair it's one thing if you don't have family, but it's another thing you have family who don't want to help and it falls on one person. And from that time, I had in my father's care, my one brother, he couldn't call anymore because he was starting stuff. And he was trying to turn my father against me. My other brother called to make sure I had everything, I got his medicine. After that, I didn't hear from him anymore. Really, maybe once a year, if that. I was by myself alone. It was hard. It was scary. I felt really alone. I felt alone. But by the grace of God, I made it through. By the grace of God. Because if it wasn't for that, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind. I just want to talk about, the advice I would give myself or to anybody else. Take care of you. Make sure you take care of you. You make sure I've gotten to the point, with myself, if you're causing me stress, you got to go. I don't want anything to do with you. Nothing to do with you. And sometimes you have to cut your losses. It's painful, or whatever, but I know I've done everything. I honored my dad. I've honored him. And I just want to encourage someone out there, don't give up. If you have family that's toxic, try to move away from them. Or if you're stuck in a rock in a hard place, emotionally distance yourself. Definitely try to get some help. Try to reach out to any resource, or maybe you don't have health insurance. I know there's free services or whatever, but during that time, I remember my brother jumped on me and my face was so messed up. I had a black eye. They thought my nose was broke. I had family friends tell me, oh, well, thank goodness this happened because, this is going to save your brother. Save him? From what? From what? What is it saving him for? Oh, your family loves you. What? Oh, just all this other stuff. And my youngest brother didn't. I told him what happened. He told me he was sorry it happened to me, but he never called and checked on me either. Never called back to see, are you okay? How's your face? Nothing. I just want to encourage someone just to, try to hang in there. I know it's tough. I know it's going to hurt cutting people off or distancing yourself from them, but you got to do self-preservation. Do what you got to do to survive. Well, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. I woke up early. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning because I had this on my mind and I want to help someone if I possibly can. And it's already been 15 minutes. So have a good day. Thank you again if you made it all the way through. Bye.